watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious.
Serious about business.
Crime, corruption, and criminal justice. AmCham, the American Chamber of Commerce, is shining a light on these topics here at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel in a luncheon that's looking at how these affect Jamaica's trade and investment potential. I'm Elon Parkinson. Let's take a look at the highlights.
One of the things that I realize is that having these forums, it provides us with an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to improve. And all members should give your organization a round of applause. Put your hands together for it. For weeks, I was talking about business unusual. For weeks, that was the last one on the economy that you guys had. And I was in cocktail conversation sounding smarter than I am just by virtue of having been in the room. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out today. I'm going to apologize for the National Security Minister, Dr. Horace Chang. He did intend to be here, but he was called at the last minute to Parliament. I believe he has a parliamentary committee that he must be at, so they've summoned him. The numbers are important in these committees to make quorum and to participate in discussions at Gordon House, so he won't be with us today. The DPP, the Director of Public Prosecutions, Paula Llewellyn, is here. Thank you very much for being here with us today, as is Dirk Harrison, the acting head of the Corruption Prosecution Division at the Integrity Commission. Always glad to have Professor Anthony Clayton, a respected criminologist, here with us today. Jason Fraser is the country rep of the USAID. Thank you very much, and looking forward to hearing their presentations later today. At this time, I'm going to invite Alison Peart, the president of AmCham of Jamaica, to give the official welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody. You know, we look so officious and so quiet. It's very, very important business, but I'm hoping today you're going to learn a lot more. You're going to leave here understanding more about some of the issues and, more importantly, with some solutions. Because it's one thing to speak about our issues, but if we don't find a solution, we're just a talk shop. And I love Nationwide on the radio, but we don't just want to talk. We want to come up with some solutions. So as the president of the American Chamber of Commerce in Jamaica, we thought it very important. We talk about how wonderful the economy was. Our last session was business unusual. But if we have crime issues, if people don't feel, Jamaicans don't feel comfortable going about their daily lives, if our foreign investors don't feel comfortable, if our children, who are our future, have issues, where are we as a nation? So we thought it very important to bring together a panel that would engage in the dialogue about crime, corruption, criminal justice. How does it affect our trade and investment? Because it makes no sense to talk about our GDP growing or our debt to GDP if we're dying. It makes no sense if our future is tied to crime. So this dialogue is very, 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 very important, and I am very happy you're here with us.
Okay, the question today is how much crime and corruption and a dysfunctional justice system are actually inhibiting the development of Jamaica and inward investment. Because we don't just have one problem, we have quite a complex array of problems. And it's quite hard to know how much we should attribute to any one of these and how much any one of these is contributing to what has historically been a very low rate of growth and significant difficulties in attracting inward investment and retaining domestic capital and retaining human capital. These are the headline ones. We have one of the highest rates of violence in the world. We have a large number, a significant number Of gangs, about 80% of our homicide are gang-related. The rest are primarily domestic violence. So the fact that we have a large number of gangs is clearly a major factor in maintaining one of the world's highest levels of homicide. There are fundamental challenges still in our system of governance. As I'll be going on to say in a few minutes, we have people in public life who help to create this problem with gangs and high levels of violence, and that link has never been yet severed, and that is still a challenge that we have yet to face. What, of course, that does is it undermines the moral authority of government. If you have a situation where all the bad guys are out there and everybody in government is honest and competent, it's not really very difficult to deal with the problems of crime. The problem is when the boundaries between the two are blurred, and when you have criminals who are getting high-level political protection. At that point, it's much, much harder to deal with the issues. Of course, what that feeds is a culture of cynicism, low trust, and that has a great deal to do with sustaining a high level of violence. In any country where you see that people do not trust the police and do not trust the justice system, they're much more likely to have recourse to violence to solve their issues and disputes. So it's partly reflecting the fact that we've still got deep weaknesses in our system of governance. But let's put this in a little context. There's only one demographic for whom violence is the leading cause of premature morbidity, which is young males, late teens, early 20s. For every other demographic, it's actually cheeseburgers that are more likely to kill you. We've got issues with, like every other country, with steeply rising rates of non-communicable diseases. And we can't also forget the fact that we have perennial challenges with energy security, increasingly with water security, which is related, because years ago we made the decision that everybody must be on a piped water supply, which means that we're now committed to a program of pumping water up hillsides, which means that if our energy system goes down, our water system goes down too. In hindsight, perhaps that wasn't a very good decision. So we've got issues with energy, water security, and more generally food and access to resources. We live in a seismically active part of the world. We live in the hurricane belt. There's challenges with emerging exotic diseases, and of course we've got a background issue really serious now, as people have started to realize with climate change. You may have heard that this summer is the hottest ever recorded in Jamaica's history. And in fact, there's now real grounds for concern that we've gone past an irrevocable point, and that we will not ever revert back to the low temperatures of the past. So this is something that we may now have to make a permanent adjustment to.
Violence is bad. Violence against our innocent little children is terrible. Pretending not to notice when we know or suspect that a child is suffering is awful and morally wrong. In the words of the great Nelson Mandela, there can be no keener realization of a nation's soul than the way in which it treats its children. Think about that for a second. I have a voice. It's one of my gifts. I intend to use it on behalf of our children. No more violence against our children. Make your move to stop violence against our children right now. No more. No more. No more.
One of our highest priorities of the U.S. government in Jamaica is to work with our counterparts to interdict Jamaican and Caribbean-based transnational criminal activity, including narcotics and arms trafficking, trafficking in persons, and financial fraud targeting U.S. citizens. The U.S. government has also invested heavily in supporting anti-corruption initiatives with the civil society and Jamaican government, as well as supported improvements in the justice system. In total, the U.S. government invests about $12 million in security-related programming annually, which does not include all the various partnerships and collaborations that our various U.S. government agencies have with their counterparts. In fact, USAID Jamaica just advertised a broad agency announcement to co-design our flagship community violence prevention activity with key stakeholders such as the government, academia, and private sector. This unique co-creation approach encourages key stakeholders to co-create and deliver the services that are vital to prevent youth crime and violence at the community level. Law enforcement and criminal justice are important to controlling crime, as we all know, and corruption. But we also have to address the underlying social challenges that both cause and contribute to crime. Within the broad range of U.S. cooperation on crime, and this is where USAID comes in, we partner with the government and civil society on a range of programs to address the root causes of crime in Jamaica. So in the area of community safety and security, and building upon past successes with community-based policing, USAID focuses on the strengthening of community-based and civil society organizations, the promotion of community-driven activities, the development of long-term champions of a culture of lawfulness, and the enhancement of ministries, departments, and agencies of the state to be more community-oriented institutions. In this way, we believe that we contribute to building safer communities, strengthening social cohesion, and improving civic engagement participation. USAID also works with holistic youth-friendly approaches that aims to assist at-risk youth in becoming active citizens through the engagement of different social, educational, behavioral, and recreational activities. This approach includes three main areas regarding youth involved in criminality: prevention, intervention, and rehabilitation, including diversion activities as alternatives to traditional incarceration for first-time offenders. Youth also develop skills through educational programs which introduce them to fundamental concepts in business, economics, individual accountability, and entrepreneurship. USAID expects that life skills and technical training will increase opportunities for at-risk youth to work within the legitimate economy, thereby reducing the likelihood of involvement in gang and criminal activity. In Jamaica, relationships with key public sector, private sector, and donor agency partners are being leveraged to create programs to build skills and to identify work options for youth. USAID also works in the youth remandee centers, which includes case management follow-up to facilitate at-risk youth acquiring job and education opportunities when they are released. In the area of corruption, the Combating Corruption in Jamaica project has not only built public demand for more effective action against corruption through awareness campaigns, but has also provided training to government and civil society partners to build capacity and increase advocacy. The project is expected to have an impact on the nation's capacity and the ability to effectively control instances of and attitudes towards corruption in general and political corruption in particular. So what's the role of the private sector in addressing the root causes? That's why we're all here today. Many of you are representing private sector organizations. How can the private sector be a key partner in addressing some of these root causes? Obviously, many of you are part of the community, and so you have an interest. Your company is often affected by the high rates of crime and corruption. So it's important that government, international partners who support government, NGOs, and the private sector work together to address these issues. We've all been to various forums on issues surrounding crime in Jamaica. I think the private sector here needs to continue to ask itself what it is doing to address the issue. Clearly, advocacy is important to press for resources, accountability, and support in combating crime. But there's much more that can be done to invest in communities to make them safer and create opportunities for the next generation to be prosperous. Looking ahead, we welcome the opportunity to increase our engagement with the private sector on these challenges because of the energy and innovation that they typically bring to the table. USAID is a learning agency, and we are constantly exploring how to improve our work and increase our impact. So as we streamline our programs and look for new strategic partners, we invite the private sector to partner with us as we both work towards the common goal of helping Jamaicans thrive.
There's this sense of a godlike syndrome that during some transactions an oversight body must lap its tail or virtually hold its corner in the name of investment. There are different roles for each stakeholder. Each must stay in their lane and accept criticism when constructively made. On the contrary, ladies and gentlemen, potential investors, in fact, should be happy that the business environment observes the rule of law and that democracy flourishes with built-in checks and balances. If I were an investor about to enter Jamaica, it's incumbent on me and my handlers to look out for red flags and indicators of the environment. I name a few on a list that is not exhaustive. 1, determine the role of the oversight body. It must be effective, efficient, fearless, and it must be respected. What, if any, comment does the oversight body have to say on a process or an investment opportunity that you wish to enter? The engagement, ladies and gentlemen, of investors and investor confidence, existing and thriving, must be viewed on a virtual 2-lane highway. That is a 2-way street with rules and guidelines being applicable. 2, does the police service support and protect local and non-Jamaican community members? Do they communicate with all persons? Are they accessible at all times? Maintain a presence that the visitor or citizen believes and recognizes that if they do wrong, they'll be detected. But lines of communication must always be in place. For too long in this blessed country, the notion exists that unless someone knows you and you not knowing them, nothing will happen. That needs to end. In a time of real emergency, the joke is told, unless you have on speed dial a member of the police force, the response time to a complaint is sometimes unacceptable. Another thing that I would think an investor would look for, there must be a criminal justice system that is efficient and effective, and we must congratulate the learned Chief Justice for the renaissance and the role of the DPP's office in the renaissance that is taking place now. But we must also have financial services, a banking system, healthcare facilities. They must be adequate, to name a few components. Importantly, ladies and gentlemen, on Jamaica's stock exchange record, Michael Reagan, writing in Bloomberg Business Week, January 18, 2019, states the Jamaican Stock Exchange is the world's best performing. Its outperformance over the past 5 years is even more striking. Jamaica's stocks have surged almost 300%, more than quadrupling the next best performing national benchmark and septupling the S&P Standard & Poor's 500's advance. I make bold to say that the very important successes must be highlighted, with all the negatives on crime and violence reported in the last 48 hours in Jamaica. Also, the awards in the tourism sector must also be celebrated. However, we must do better. Ladies and gentlemen, what are some of the solutions? Government agencies must work together all the time and set aside jealousies and petty matters which have no place in a professional setting. Interagency cooperation and collaboration must be emphasized and practiced. You must build bridges and stop tearing down, emasculating, and ridiculing persons. The fact that you do not agree is no reason to disrespect. Professionalism is non-negotiable. We must have a review of the timelines to review governance structures. Oftentimes, pieces of legislation give you 3 years to review a legislation. You see in 1 year, nothing is happening. The parliamentary caucus needs to do something about that. We must enhance whistleblowing regimes and encourage the discourse, change in discourse to, in my words, informer for live. Stop saying informer for dead, informer for live. I must admit, I'm an informer. I'm a proud one. I'm an informer. Tell me something today, I'm going to tell the police tomorrow. We need to modernize the law enforcement units and bring outstanding laws into operation. We need public education to sensitize the world that the perception of corruption or actual is not a reflection of the overwhelming majority of law-abiding Jamaicans. We need to ensure that the police and our oversight bodies work to regain public trust. The police must maintain presence, not just in hotspots, but also generally. It will help to rebuild issues of insecurity. I pause here as I listen to Professor Clayton. In the last month, I visited Cayman. The police carry no guns. A year before, I went to Turks and Caicos. The police had no guns. I visited Grenada a few times. The police had no guns. They have their problems, but I felt safe. I am walking in this, my beloved country, and we're turning and looking behind us every minute. But our Caribbean neighbors, and Professor Clayton showed us the figures, I feel safe. We need to look at that. Ladies and gentlemen, as I close, I reiterate that the government of Jamaica, the ministries, the departments, the statutory bodies, to name a few, must work united to create that package, that which is seen by the outside world, with all the various components and elements that they look at, and which they consider, and which will have the effect to harness growth and encourage investor confidence. But most importantly, we must leave our partners with the belief that integrity is non-negotiable. Honesty is paramount, not by word of mouth, but by our actions. And despite our problems, crime and corruption, that they can and humbly should consider investing in our country to bring about change for good. Acknowledging that the improvement of the basic standards of life may have the effect of changing behavior, but I readily admit we can't legislate for good behavior.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show, and Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV. Serious about business.
In respect of what it takes to inspire confidence, I'm a plain speaker, and I will say, I believe that what is happening in our country, education is the key. I believe that a lot of our children, some of those who come from environments where they are victims of poor and dysfunctional parenting, we need to reintroduce civics in all its forms back within the schools, from the time of the basic school, because there are a lot of our children. People complain that, okay, are the schools not doing enough? But they may go to school, the teachers try their best, and they go back into an environment that is like a black hole of nothingness, because there's no value system, no values, positive values and attitudes. And yet if you take that child and you put that child in another environment, you have intervention, positive intervention, you would be surprised to see the beautiful diamond coming from the rough. So I'm really a big believer in education. Now, another pet peeve of mine is that, and I prosecute police officers, I do not subscribe to the throwing the baby with the bathwater approach. everybody knows their functions best. But I am not a public official who believes, unless it is necessary in the interests of justice, to make gratuitous comments in terms of seeking to tear down my colleagues anywhere. And I am not into using speculation to put out there to join the call for crucify him, crucify her in the public domain, where you have the court of public opinion demanding, just like the little old ladies who were knitting at the time in the Tale of Two Cities and saying for the noblemen, chop off their heads. I am not into that. At the Director of Public Prosecution's Office, we deal with two things: the law and evidence. Personal emotion, personalities, we are not into it. So even if the court of public opinion or any other opinion would like to see the guillotined head of an individual on a platter, if there is no evidence to prosecute, to mount a viable prosecution, then as a matter of law, we have to say so. And I will say, and it's the first time I'm saying it publicly, first time, and I say it with the greatest of respect, that this is why on occasion, when I've been asked privately, I have registered privately a concern when you have no firewall between agencies that both investigate and prosecute. Because if you are not careful, you run away in the court of public opinion, and the court of law has to catch up. And by the time it gets to court, after a lot of reputational damage has been done, when you look at it and the defense counsel gets up and says, they are putting the prosecution in limine to prove what is there, the judge asks. And when you pare away what is there, there's nothing there as a matter of law. So sometimes in the court of public opinion, the members of the public would want to see one thing, but both the police and I know that in the court of law, it's either you have to have cogent, credible, reliable, admissible evidence. If you don't have it, then no matter how egregious the conduct of an individual is, then you don't have a case. Then you have to look at the second layer in terms of governance and accountability. And this is where public opinion, civil society can force the government of the day to make sure that all the particular oversight agencies, that they have teeth, that they are well structured, and that the will, the political will is there to make sure that the teeth are not rickety in the oversight agencies, but they can stand up. In other words, if you put a piece of cane in the mouth of the teeth of that oversight agency, the teeth won't come out. It is the cane that will suffer damage.
Riveting perspectives and indeed sobering statistics coming from the AmCham empaneled team here at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. You're watching Business Access TV, serious about business.
Nonviolence is the greatest force at the disposal of mankind. It is mightier than the mightiest weapon of destruction devised by the ingenuity of man. Renowned revolutionist Mahatma Gandhi. Today the world stands to observe the birth of a man known for employing nonviolent resistance against Britain's colonial rule. It is no surprise then that the day is being recognized as International Day of Nonviolence, a day reserved to disseminate the message of nonviolence through education and public awareness. Hi there, I'm Adrian Atkinson and welcome to Jamaica Magazine. We'll share some more of the life and work of the great Mahatma Gandhi and some everyday Jamaicans answering to the call to promote peace. All that and more on today's show. Do stay with us.
I'm sure my neighbors hear the screams and cries.
I'm sure by now they've seen the bruises through my oversized glasses.
Can they tell I'm depressed when we speak?
Are they counting my frequent days off from work?
Domestic violence is any pattern of behavior used by an individual to maintain control or power over another. Domestic violence is not just physical, it can also be verbal. If you're in a relationship where you are being abused or know of anyone, get out and speak up. Report domestic violence by calling 119 or the nearest police station. Get out before someone puts you out.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, October 2. Murders in the St. Andrews South Police Division, now under a state of public emergency, have been halved since it took effect on July 6. Over the 84-day period, the division recorded 22 murders, 31 less than the 53 recorded prior to the implementation of the special security measure. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says in the 84 days since the state of emergency has been declared, shootings and rapes have also declined.
The SOEs work as to whether or not they are the perfect tool. We on this side have said they are not. But they continue to bring us results. If we continue with the measures, we will have 2 consecutive periods of reduction in murders. And that's very important. It is important to get momentum. Very important that criminals understand that there is a consensus amongst lawmakers to have a firm handle on crime.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness putting forward his case for the extension of the St. Andrews South state of emergency in Parliament Tuesday. Members of Parliament supported his arguments and voted to extend the special security measure for another 90 days. Still in Parliament Tuesday, a joint select committee of the House has put forward several recommendations related to the Sexual Offences Act, Offences Against the Persons Act, the Domestic Violence Act, and the Child Care and Protection Act. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck, who tabled the recommendations, says the committee has suggested that the penalties for offences in all 4 pieces of legislation should be increased.
In particular, Mr. Speaker, where criminal offences are committed against vulnerable persons in the community, especially pregnant women, the elderly, the disabled, the sick, because there are people who commit offense and abuse these persons, that the penalties should be very heavy, probably a minimum of 20 years.
The committee is also recommending that a new offense of stalking be created, amending the Domestic Violence Act to enhance protection orders, and removing the conditions from the Sexual Offences Act to determine if a husband can rape his wife. Other considerations preferred by the committee include a law to prevent the criminalization of children where they willingly engaged in sexual activities with each other. In other news, the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation has launched an initiative to retrofit schools across the island with rainwater harvesting systems. Dubbed the Water IQ or Wiki initiative, the move is to educate and encourage Jamaicans to conserve and use water with efficiency. At the launch on Tuesday, Portfolio Minister Pernell Charles Jr. said students and teachers will be engaged to become the standard bearers for the success of the initiative.
Each participating school will be assigned 12 water monitors in the form of students and one coordinator who will be a teacher or a member of staff. Each water monitor will be trained in a session conducted by the ministry with the involvement of our agencies, the Water Resources Authority, National Water Commission, and Rural Water Supply Limited, and other relevant stakeholders on proper water management practices and techniques.
Minister Charles Jr. was speaking at the commissioning of a rainwater harvesting system at the Rock Hall All-Age School in St. Andrew, benefiting approximately 368 students and teachers. Minister Charles says the country must build its capacity to withstand the effect of climate change, which includes drought conditions.
As a nation, we must do these two things. Recognize the value of our water as being essential for life and invaluable to all living creatures. And two, we must recognize that we all have a social responsibility to conserve and protect our water.
Jamaica has recorded more than 3 million tourists since the start of the year. This number includes approximately 1.9 million stopover visitors and more than 1 million cruise ship passengers. As such, tourism earnings for the period are up by 10.2%. It is anticipated that the tourism earnings will surpass the projected year-end target of $3.7 billion. The latest tourism figures were released yesterday by Portfolio Minister Edmund Bartlett at a media briefing at the ministry's New Kingston office.
As of now, we have an increment of 150,000 more stopover arrivals for the year so far, which is a record in its own way, because this is the end of September. And that 150,000 more visitors for the year represent some 8.6% increase over last year.
He said the outturns put Jamaica firmly on track to meet and exceed the government's end-of-year targets for the sector. The Ministry of Tourism will be placing special focus on increasing arrivals from Japan. Portfolio Minister Edmund Bartlett says new marketing arrangements will be implemented, targeted at the Asian market. Mr. Bartlett is to lead a team to Tourism Expo Japan 2019, slated for later this month. While there, he is scheduled to meet with key officials and stakeholders in an effort to recover that market. He noted that arrivals out of Japan was stronger 30 years ago.
But we lost that market, and we lost it because of a number of factors. But now the Japanese economy has rebounded. They're doing extremely well. Their outbound market now is over 20 million, and the appetite for Jamaica and the Caribbean is returning.
And finally, the importance and benefits of breastfeeding will be the focus of a symposium being held tomorrow at the Montego Bay Convention Center in St. James. The symposium and exhibition is being hosted by the Western Regional Health Authority, which covers Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, and Westmoreland. At a recent JIS think tank, regional health nutritionist Nadine Simmons-Lewis says the event is aimed at further heightening public awareness about breastfeeding. Mrs. Simmons-Lewis says the symposium will be targeting workplaces to make them breastfeeding friendly. In addition to a presentation from the Baby Friendly Hospital Initiative, the event will also be garnering support from men through football and cricket associations, ministers fraternal, taxi associations, and service clubs.
We will also have presentation on the nutritional components of breast milk up to 2 years and beyond, for a child 2 years old and beyond. We'll be looking at men in breastfeeding, the role of men in breastfeeding, and also the women, empowering women in the workplace, empowering breastfeeding women in the workplace.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
When you're on the road, take your time. When you're on the road, bear this in mind. When you're on the road, you could save a life when you're on the road.
Gender-based violence is a common occurrence in many societies across the world, but even louder is the call by our government to end this practice. Today, as we recognize International Day of Nonviolence, here's a call to end all forms of violence against our women and girls. Watch this.
It is no secret. Jamaica experiences reports of domestic violence.
Sometimes him beat me in front of the picnic them.
There is no excuse for abuse, and the government has implemented a plan with the hope of beating domestic violence out of the country. The data on gender-based violence says much. In Jamaica, 1 in every 4 women is abused. Globally, 1 in every 3 women is a victim. Coupled with that, domestic violence has no regard for age or status. Men are also victims, so too girls as young as age 15, who are being physically, sexually, and emotionally abused in intimate partner relationships. With year-on occurrences of all forms of gender-based violence, the government has been courting several plans to eliminate the act. Finally, a perfect relationship has been formed and has given birth to a 10-year plan for ending this cowardly act. The National Strategic Action Plan to Eliminate Gender-Based Violence in Jamaica, NSAP-GBV for short.
The period is 2017 to 2027, 2017 to 2027. And that plan is predicated on the due diligence framework, which allows us to have 5 strategic priority areas. The first one is prevention. How do we engage key stakeholders so that they become a part of the solution and not a part of the problem?
A major component of the prevention strategic area is the implementation of a No Excuse for Abuse social media-driven campaign.
We are very fortunate to have been blessed with a 3-year MOU through our partner, UN Women, that will allow us to do a 6-month campaign. We think that this campaign should make a huge difference, and we plan to have it rolled out in a very robust manner across communities and engaging different players at different times. The second strategic priority area is protection. That looks at how do we ensure that once the person becomes a victim, there is the adequate provision for shelter, there is provision for psychosocial support and rehabilitation. How do we look at the perpetrator as well?
The third priority strategic area covers the investigation, prosecution, and enforcement of court orders.
So once a person has been a victim, becomes a victim, what sort of mechanisms are in place to ensure that the victim gets redress and gets compensation if that is what is required? And if there is a protection order that is required, how do we ensure that the protection order is taken out and that it is enforced? And if there is an issue with compliance, which happens in some cases, where the perpetrator decides to violate the protection order, how do we ensure that it is enforced? And how do we ensure that the victim has protection? The fourth strategic priority area looks at compensation, reparation, and redress. How do we ensure that victims and survivors have adequate compensation for redress for wrongs that have been done? And how do we compensate? What forms of redress are appropriate? What is affordable given our limited fiscal space? The fifth and final strategic priority area is data collection and the systems by which we have a management of data. Gone are the days where persons talk from their heads about gender-based violence, because we now have a survey findings, a set of survey findings that's put together in a report. It's called the Women's Health Survey, and that survey for us is very important.
Released in 2017, the Women's Health Survey was conducted by the Inter-American Development Bank, UN Women, and the Statistical Institute of Jamaica. It provides facts, not anecdotal information, about the violence some persons face. Eliminating gender-based violence will not be a band-aid fix. With the help of local and international partners, government has crafted a research-driven program to involve major stakeholders. The goal is simple yet revolutionary: to bring an end once and for all to this scourge that has crippled families and impacted our country psychologically and financially.
One group helping to keep the peace in our society is all Justices of the Peace, a group dating back to as early as the 12th century. Here's a little more on their roles and responsibilities.
When you offer your service across Jamaica, it is absolutely important for you to be fair-minded. Ensure that fair play at all times is displayed, a person dispensing justice, ensuring that peace is maintained across Jamaica. To assist in solving the many problems that we are encountering in Jamaica.
We see them all over the country. We know their names. We employ their services for signing important documents, among other things. But do we know the extent of their functions, or how one even becomes a Justice of the Peace? Come, watch as we open the gates to the historical peacekeepers of our nation.
I'm appointed through the Ministry of Justice, and as a JP, you have to be very, very confidential. So people can come to you and they can confide in you with whatever, and you can be that person that they can talk to. You have to be a person of integrity, a person who is an unquestionable background.
You're joining a vocation that has been in existence and started from the 12th century. From 1195, the king, known as King the Lion-Hearted, said to the knights, we need distinguished persons to operate in boroughs, communities, right across England. So find some persons who can keep the peace. Some from 1195, over 800 years ago. Persons who were appointed were known as keepers of the peace. It was only in the 14th century that the term Justice of the Peace became the JP that you are now.
Ministry of Justice call us peacekeeper, and people do call us peacekeeper because we do keep the peace. Some of our duties that I perform, I witness documents for people, I do recommendations for some of the youths who want a job. I also do recommendations for persons who want to be surety to bail another person. So there are multiple things that I do as a Justice of the Peace.
The role of a JP is a voluntary one. So these officers are not to accept cash or any form of reward for the work done in their capacity as JPs.
It's something that you will do out of your heart. You have to do it as a person. You have to do it as a Jamaican. You have to love your country. And I believe that we have to stop asking the question what our country can do for us and to want to help to change our country, to change the justice system.
From there, the steps to become a Justice of the Peace are fairly simple. You must be a Jamaican citizen residing in the country during the time of appointment. You must be able to read and speak English fluently. You must be able to communicate and interact at all levels with all types of people. You must be a person of undeniable integrity who commands the respect of the local community. And you must be a person who has offered voluntary service to the community and the country by extension, while indicating the potential for continued service. But always remember, as a JP, you're offering a very valuable service to your country.
It's a fulfilling job, but it's also a tiring one. So I want to say to fellow Justice of the Peace out there, please, do it for the love. As what they say, do it for the love, not for the likes. You understand me? Make sure you're doing your job correctly. You signed up for a position to help people, help people.
You know, one of the interesting things about Gandhi was how he spent decades experimenting with food, charting the results and altering his eating choices. He even wrote a book titled The Moral Basis of Vegetarianism. Well, speaking of experimenting with food and eating choices, here's a little help on how to monitor the food you consume.
Your body needs energy, and we call this our daily requirements of calories. And for Jamaican men, it's about 2,100. For Jamaican women, it's about 1,900 calories per day. The calorie is just a unit of energy to say how much energy you need to get around your daily activities and so on. If you're more active and you're not in a desk job, then you're going to burn more calories. If you go to work, when you get up in the morning, you sit in a car and you go to work, you sit at a desk all day, and then lunchtime come, you order and they deliver the food to you, and then you eat that and you go back and sit again, and then you sit in a bus or a car and you go home. So you're sitting all day, you're not doing much, versus somebody who's on the road and they're walking around or they're standing all day like the teachers and nurses and so on. Then you'll realize the difference in how much energy you will need. And so if you are more active, you should be eating a little bit more. But the problem is that everybody is eating as if they're working in sugarcane fields, chopping cane all day. And this is the problem. So we consume more calories than we are burning off. And every day, if we keep on consuming calories, you need 3,500 calories to make 1 pound of fat. One soda, if you look on the serving size for these things, these juices and so on, you'll think that, oh, it's just 110 calories. But how many servings come in that container? About 3 or 2.5. So you can easily drink 300 calories like that. And if you do that 5 times for the day, that's 1,500 calories. You almost don't need to eat anything else for the rest of the day. So the excess calories come in the body, and then the body begins to store them as fat. And then you put on more weight and more weight. You have to watch the pastries and the breads and all of these things that people, even when they're vegetarians, they still have a lot of these little snacks and so on. These things are full of calories. You know that one of the cream crackers is about 450 calories. Water crackers is about 500. Yeah, nobody don't want to hear. I never want to believe it either. But this is what you get, the packs that you get, and a lot of people eat them with butter, right? So can you imagine how many calories you're putting in your body with one little snack? And you don't talk about the tea yet, with the milk, the condensed milk and the sugar that you have to have that with. All of these things, they add up without you even knowing.
The ingredients label will go from the most to the least in a product. So if the product is making a claim, look at where that claim is. If it is 1, 2, or 3, because if it falls less than that, you're really not getting value for your money, right, in terms of content. The nutrition facts. One of the first things you're going to look at is the servings per container, and this says 2.5, which means it's 2.5 servings in the container. You are not supposed to drink it, you must share it, right? And then you're going to look at your calories. It says 90 calories, but it's 90 calories per serving, and it's 2.5 servings. So it's 2.5 times 90, which comes out to about 225. And then you come down and you look at your sugar, and it's 22 grams of sugar, but it's per serving. So the entire container is 2.5 times 22, which works out to about 55, 56 if my maths is right. And there's 4 grams equal 1 teaspoon, so you end up with about roughly 14 teaspoons of sugar. And that is, you use this template for all the products that have nutritional facts on them. This is 14 teaspoons of sugar, and the American Heart Association recommends that for an adult male, you're supposed to consume 9 teaspoons of added sugar per day. For an adult female, it is 6 teaspoons of added sugar per day. And for a child, it's less than 6 teaspoons per day. And a child here, we're talking about from 2 to 18 years old. Don't look at a container and judge it by the size alone. You It's very important to read the label so you know exactly. And look at it, 220 calories. For parents, we're asking them, to be very mindful of how much sugar they're giving their kids, right? Because it impacts upon their health in the long term.
We try to provide information to parents and guardians, teachers, anyone about the alternatives to these sugary drinks, because really you don't need them in your diet. You can get enough sugar that you need from the foods that you eat, the carbohydrates, which are converted to sugars in your body, which give you energy. So some of the alternatives are, of course, water. It's the best one, but there's also fresh fruit juices. So blending your own juices without adding sugar, and you'll have the natural sugars and fiber from the fruits. There's coconut water. It should be, you should actually drink this in moderation because it does have quite a high sugar content, but it is a good alternative. For the children, freezing the juices into popsicles or ice cubes so that it's more interesting for them to drink, as well as doing infused water. So infused water is it's a process where you cut up your favorite fruit or vegetable or even mint leaves or aloe. You place it in water overnight so that the vitamins, the minerals, all the goodness from the fruits and vegetables are infused into the water, and you can have that. It's not sugar sweetened, and it gives you the vitamins and minerals that you need throughout the day. And then for children, there's unsweetened milk. So not flavored milks like the chocolate milks, but unsweetened milk doesn't have a high sugar content, and it also will give the children the calcium that they need for their growing bodies as well.
October 2 finds us recognizing and celebrating a famous leader and champion for global justice and peace. Here are a few interesting facts about freedom fighter Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi organized several nonviolent civil disobedience campaigns, which of course included using fasting as a means of resistance. Government nutritionists were even called in to explain how Gandhi could go 21 days without food. He fought against racial discrimination in South Africa. Gandhi arrived in South Africa in 1893 as a legal representative of Indian traders. There he faced discrimination, which was common against people of color, and decided to take up the fight against racial oppression. Gandhi led the famous Salt March. The British Salt Act of 1882 prohibited Indians from collecting or selling salt and also imposed a heavy tax on it. For 24 days, Gandhi marched 388 kilometers to produce salt from seawater. The Salt March was extensively covered by media, and the world began to recognize the legitimacy of India's claim for independence. Man of the Year. In 1930, he was named Time magazine's Man of the Year and was also the runner-up for Time's Person of the Century. As a man of peace, Gandhi was a 5-time Nobel Peace Prize nominee. Today is simply a call to pattern some of the actions of this distinguished figure and help make our country the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. And our time is up, but that doesn't mean you can't enjoy a recap of today's episode. Catch it all again on our website or YouTube channel. You may also keep up with us, the JIS team, on our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages. And before we go, think on these words from the man of the day. You must be the change you wish to see in the world. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
On this week's episode of Wealth Magazine Business Access, from Monterey to Kingston,
So coming to Jamaica has been an amazing experience.
Red Stripe Managing Director Ricardo Nuncio tells us about his journey.
When you're very driven and you want to achieve success in your career, never think about your next move. Think about 2 moves ahead.
And making life decisions.
He said, do you want to be the tail of the lion or do you want to be the head of the mouse? And I said, you know what? Head of the mouse actually sounds quite good. My name is Ricardo Nuncio. I'm the Managing Director for Red Stripe. I'm from Mexico, and I grew up in a small town in the northwest of Mexico called Durango. So basically, I just enjoy by that time, probably was similar here in Jamaica, you just got the time to spend playing in the streets, going in your bike, just enjoying and being out with friends. I had a happy childhood. I have a sister who's older, but basically I just I enjoyed simple things. No, I really like to. There's a good forest close to where I live, so we went there on Sundays just for camping, spending time with my grandparents and uncles and aunts and cousins. So it was family time, but it was simple, and I have to say that it was a happy life. We were very tight always as a family. I have to say that I've always been a fan of Christmas Eve because it's a time when basically all the family from my mom's side, we got together and enjoyed great Christmases with a lot of people, a lot of noise, a lot of kids. So I really enjoyed that. So basically just grew up being a good student. I always been into trying to get good grades. So I was kind of a nerdy boy growing up, but always had the time to enjoy and relax and have friends and play. You know? So always had that good combination. Was never very good in sports, I have to be honest. I got the other day that people think Mexican and they immediately think that you're good at soccer, no? Or football, which I'm terrible at. But I really enjoyed basketball. I liked tennis also, but never a big, let's say, sport athlete. No? But I always like to do something else, no? And do some exercise. So I started my school in an American school in my home state. I was very privileged because that's where I got exposed to English when I was very young, so I really got the opportunity to start learning a new language. After that, I went to a popular high school, which was not, I would say, very demanding in grades, but it was very good in, let's say, socializing. It was good to build your networking, so that was good for me in high school. And then from there, I moved away from home. I went to live in a different city, away from my parents, and went to study at a university called Tec de Monterrey, which is a very prestigious university for engineering. And I was very lucky because I got a scholarship to go there and study chemical engineering. Actually, it was a big decision back then because I had 2 choices. All my life I wanted to go to that university. That was my dream, but it was extremely expensive and my parents couldn't afford to send me to that school. So there was another option of another school. So I applied to both. For the school I didn't want to go, I got a 100% scholarship, but I really didn't want to go there. And I was a bit overwhelmed, I didn't know what to do. And then all of a sudden I got a scholarship, it was a partial scholarship to go to the university I wanted. So finally my parents made an effort and I was able to go to the school I always wanted to go, to the university. And that was an amazing experience for me. I chose a very difficult degree. Chemical engineering is extremely tough. You basically are dealing with numbers all the time. I remember my exams were basically just 1 paragraph stating a problem and they gave you like 20 blank pages and you had to just drill down and try to solve your exam, and were exams that lasted 5 hours. And I remember very well because my exams were normally at Friday in the afternoons. And that was exactly the time where everyone else was in the stadium seeing the American football team playing. And I remember that everyone was yelling, and I was thinking to myself, what am I doing here? Doing an exam, 5 pages long, doing numbers. Well, I could be out there enjoying the game now. So I had to make the challenge, a choice. But I have to say that I had really good friends, and also that university is very, very welcoming, so you get a lot of extracurricular activities. So I have very fond memories, very good friends, which I still have contact with. And I have to say that I never, let's say, said no to going to a party or going out or having a drink or a beer. So I think at the end I took the right decision of the degree I decided to study. And also the mix and the balance between having fun and knowing where to concentrate and study hard. The good thing is that I always had the privilege to live in a middle-class family. No? So, of course, we were not upper class, but we were middle class, comfortable. We had the opportunity to vacation once or twice a year, nothing fancy, but a good life. But definitely my dad had to really push to be able to offer that type of life for us. So my dad has always been a great example for me of how to work hard, how to also enjoy the good moments of life, how to have fun, how to enjoy food. He loves to eat, so I got that from him. I'm not good at sports, but there was a moment where I made the basketball team, and we went to play to a different city. And I was the oldest of the team, so I kind of made it because of my age. So I was playing with younger kids, still very competitive. So I really cherished that moment because I was able to score the last 2 free shots to win the final game that we won. So that was very fun for me because I was something different. That was not what I was used to do because I was always, let's say, more so good at grades, but not good at that other component of my life. So I enjoyed that moment. Of course, it never happened again, but I have that as something that I cherish because I really enjoyed that. He said, do you want to be the tail of the lion or do you want to be the head of the mouse? And I said, okay, give me 2 days and I'll come back to you.
As a teacher for over 8 years, we need to realize that the children are our future. We need to love them, appreciate and respect our children. No more violence against children. No more!
Chemical engineering is actually a career that has a lot of prestige in Mexico. So once you finish, and this university is a very good university, so you get the opportunity to get several offers once you graduate, which is not very common because Mexico, similar as Jamaica, it's let's say a developing country, a developing economy, so unemployment in youth is very high. So it's not very common, but I was very lucky because when I was still 1 month before graduation, I got a call from a petrochemical company, a big company in Monterrey, in the city where I studied, and I was offered a job in the finance department. And I remember perfectly my dad saying, I mean, you really worked hard for 6 years in a very tough career. Just relax, take 4 months, just think what you want to do for the rest of your life. Just enjoy, go party, and do something fun. My dad was telling me that. And I was so full to say, no, Dad, I have to take this job because I'm being offered a job. There's not a lot of jobs out there, so I'm gonna take it. So I said no to those 4 months of enjoyment, and I went right into working at that company. But it was the right decision because it was a good job, and I started in finance. And it was very interesting. I have very fond memories of that first company. I went to study my MBA, and in my MBA I met a very good friend who was the commercial director for a small company. And he said that he wanted to invite me to come work for him. So I said, I don't know, because you're a small company, I'm really working here. It's a multinational, I'm working in a big company. And then he said something that will always stick in my mind. He said, do you want to be the tail of the lion, or do you want to be the head of the mouse? And I said, okay, give me 2 days and I'll come back to you. So I had my girlfriend there, which is actually now my wife. And I said, you know what? Head of the mouse actually sounds quite good. So I took the risk and I said yes to that opportunity. And I have to say that it was one of the greatest decisions I made. It was a small company, very agile, not a lot of process implemented, selling candies. I had to travel all over Mexico. I was in finance, I moved to the commercial department in charge of doing all the commercial intelligence and the reporting and sales quota for the sales force and commercial intelligence. But then I moved to sales, which was also a great moment in my career, because I was now in charge of going directly to the customers and trying to get in new products, selling what we were, the new innovation and all the benefits of our candies. These are Mexican candies. And it was also a great experience because we were bought, when I was there, we got bought by a bigger company, a multinational called FM Mars. They are the owners of Snickers, Twix, Pedigree, so a very big company. So that was a great experience because I got to live the transition from a family business to a more structured, a more aggressive, a more result-driven, more organized business. So that was very, very, very good for me. So I spent 3 years there in that company. And then I got a really good opportunity, and actually a friend from that company that actually left the company to start his own business. He started to be a headhunter. So he said, you're gonna be my first customer, so I'm going to make sure that I get you a better job now. So I said, okay, do what you can. So he got me 2 interviews, one for a big cement company in Mexico called Cemex, and the other one for the brewing company called Cuauhtémoc Moctezuma. So I got into Cuauhtémoc Moctezuma, thankfully. It was a great interview, so I got the job. But it was actually, again, a big challenge for me because when they offered me the job, they said, you know what, we don't know what is the job you're gonna be doing, and we don't know which part of Mexico you're going to be based. But here's what we can offer you, no? And we're sure that it's gonna be a great experience for you. So I was basically just married. I was 4 months married. So I went back and did my team back with my wife and said, so here's the opportunity. We may need to move away from Monterrey, where we are living. But I feel it, I think it's the right thing to do. So she's always been very supportive, and she said, if you think it's the right thing to do, let's do it. So we took the challenge, and we took the role in the beer company. And then we basically started moving all over Mexico. No? So the adventure began. No? We went from Monterrey, we changed to 4 different cities, moved to 5 or 6 different houses in 8 years. So that adventure has been with us ever since that decision. No? Back in 2010, this Mexican beer company was acquired by Heineken. So that's when I became part of Heineken. So coming to Jamaica has been an amazing experience. I have to say that this is a great country. I love Jamaica. I love the people. I love the food. I like Scotch Bonnet. I'm a big coffee drinker, so I love how coffee is brewed here, very intense. It's a great coffee. I love the mountains. I like here, Kingston, you see that view, and it's really, really beautiful. I've been all over, I have to tell you that. The beaches you have here are extremely, extremely beautiful. No? So my best part, I have to say, is Portland. No? So Port Antonio, I'm a big fan of Port Antonio, but there's a lot of very beautiful places all over. So in that sense, Jamaica has been amazing. My kids are happy, my wife is happy, so we're all enjoying. We've been here for a year. Not everything has been a walk in the clouds or pink all the time. Has been tough, and has been tough because of mainly two things. No? One is we had to integrate the company to Heineken, and integrating a company which, if you remember, I kind of lived in my two past experiences, but never in charge of integrating it. I just lived it, and now I had to lead that integration. So it was very tough because it was a lot of work. We still needed to perform and deliver our results, but on top of that, we needed to integrate processes, systems, ways of working, performance management, just even the way the computers are configured and how you reach your email. So it was a lot of work to integrate the business. And the second big challenge is the culture, no? Implementing a new culture. No? So the company was previously owned by Diageo. So Heineken has very defined values, core values, and behaviors that define who Heineken is all over the world. So that was also a next challenge, no? Because you can just put your behaviors, you can put your values on the wall, but the big thing is how do you inspire people to live through those values and really get people to see that, no? So I have a big role there to play because I have to basically live through those values, which I do, but it's important that cascades from the top to the bottom and that people feel really connected to that. So those were the two big challenges, integrating the company and changing the culture. So the first thing is you need to know who your team is, and you have to make sure that your team is in the same page with you. But also you have to be connected to the people. So I'm always a believer of being close to the ground. I got that tip from the previous MD, and he said you have to be close to the people in the ground, because if you really want to get the pulse of what the company is saying, feeling, you have to be connected to the people on the shop floor, in the packaging line. So I normally go to the packaging line, I talk to the employees, ask them questions, how they're feeling. I really like to go to our canteen, to our cafeteria, and just sit down, have lunch with new employees that I haven't talked to or haven't met, and just ask them questions, how they're feeling. A very titanic thing that I did, which was, I'm very thankful that I did it. On my first 4 months, I wanted to meet on a one-on-one as many employees as I could. Redstripe is a company of overall fairly 300 employees, and I interviewed on a one-on-one almost 120 employees. And within those interviews, I basically asked them 3 questions. What do you love about the company? What should we not change? And what has to change? And those 3 questions really gave me a lot of insights of what was going on, what needed to change. Of course, we're not there yet. This is not something you can just flip the page and you're there. But it's we have a clear path of where we want to go. So that was basically how I structured, how I got those insights, got the involvement of my team, and just defined how we were going to make that shift. No? So we have a clear and simple vision. We want to be Jamaica's most admired company. That's our vision. No? But also internally, within the region, the Caribbean region, we are part of that Caribbean region. We want to become the biggest operating company within the Caribbean. Right now we're number 3. So we want to become the biggest one. And that ambition links to what that will mean for Jamaica. At the end, reaching that ambition means that we have to double our business basically by 2019. We have to double the size of our business in volume and also in profits. So that means that we have to push really hard domestically to keep growing our share, our revenues, our volumes, and that will translate into more jobs, more opportunities. So that's where we have to make that link and that connection emotionally with our employees and also with Jamaica. No? The more we grow, the more we can actually give back and employ more people. A clear example is a decision that we just made of bringing back the production from the US in Pennsylvania back to Jamaica, where we started producing and shipping to the US in September. So that immediately created basically almost 40 direct employments for the business. On top of that, we're really pushing through that project around agriculture. We're now using cassava, locally grown cassava, in our beer. We're almost using 10% substitution of an imported raw material with locally grown cassava. So that also links to how we're giving back, how we're integrating that ambition and that level of growth to be able to employ more people in the fields and actually allow more families to benefit from that growth. No? So it's a very, very ambitious target, but it's a great and compelling vision because it's the way we can really give back to Jamaica. Within that ambition also is making Red Stripe a key global player. It's an amazing brand. It's already present in more than 30 countries. And this year alone, after Heineken acquired Red Stripe, we went into 3 new countries that have a lot of potential. We went into Australia, which is doing really well. We went into Brazil, and we went into Dubai. Next year, we have the possibility to go into Mexico. That's already confirmed. I had to use my arguments to get it there, but it's gonna be there. We're going into France. We're going into Germany. So there's a lot of opportunities for Red Stripe internationally as well, which fills us all with a lot of excitement, and a lot of that, or most of that production, is going to be done here in Jamaica. When you're very driven and you want to achieve success in your career, never think about your next move. Think about 2 moves ahead.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, delighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but 4 walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
What really motivates me is, to be honest, is when I go back home. You know, that moment when I get home, I say hello to my wife, kiss my kids, and just get some space to relax and just be there watching TV with them and just relaxing. You know? It's a perfect moment that I really value, and I mean, at the end, we do what we do for our family. No, that's the biggest connection. No? So what drives me is to be able to offer my family great experiences. No, it's not about what you can give them on things, but it's how you offer them experiences. So we love to travel all over the island, as I was saying, and that drives me. That weekend to go out and experience a different part of Jamaica, it's definitely a moment that I expect to be in that weekend with my family to experience that. Also, what drives me is to see the results, no? To see that things are moving, that things are happening. So those small accomplishments or big accomplishments drives me, and it's making them part of all the team. So all the team knows that they were part of those results. It's also really important now. So it's never a walk in the park, and there's good days, there's bad days. So you just have to learn about those, learn about the mistakes, and just try to do it better next day. When you're very driven and you want to achieve success in your career, never think about your next move. Think about 2 moves ahead. No? So it's very important, because when you think about 2 moves ahead, then your next move makes sense, because you're able to connect your next move to get to that second move that you want to achieve. I think that people think that I'm friendly. So I am friendly, and the misconception may be that I can't be tough when needed. No, but at the end, I mean, when you have to be tough and make some tough calls and decisions, it's part of the job. You have to do it. No, the other misconception is that some of my employees have told me that I don't have fun. Coming back to that part, no. So that misconception is he's a nice guy, but he's too serious. No, he doesn't know how to party or how to relax or have fun. So that's a misconception, because I love to party, I love to enjoy, I love to relax, I love to just hang out and have fun. But sometimes I can't do it all the time. But listening to that advice, that's where I say I have to learn to bring that part of me more, because that actually makes a big difference of being able to connect more, not only with the brain, but also connect to the heart. So giving back is a big part of who we are in Red Stripe. We have a foundation, we have the DNG Foundation, so we always try to see how we can give back. There's a beautiful program that we have that is Learning for Life, where we train young Jamaicans and we give them skills so they can be employable. And when I got here and I learned about that program, I was really amazed. We've trained so far 11,000 young Jamaicans, and almost 70% of them are employed. So the rate is incredible. And we want to get to 20,000 young Jamaicans trained by 2020, which is a great way to give back, because at the end, there's this saying, don't give people fish, teach them how to fish. So Learning for Life is that exactly. We're giving them tools to be able to then go to the world and drive results and actually be employable. So that's a big one for us. If you asked me 15 years ago, you're gonna be in Jamaica, being in charge of Red Stripe, I would have never thought of that. And I probably would have said, you're crazy, So I think that the biggest change is that I've learned to take personal risks. So every moment throughout my career that I've taken that personal risk, it has allowed me to grow. When I decided what career to study or where university to go, when I decided to move from a big company to a small company and start over. When I decided to go into the beer business without knowing where I was going to end, where I was going to live, or what I was going to do. And also when I decided to say, yes, I want to go to Jamaica now. So it's been risks, so it's just learning how to manage those risks. And for me, what I would say is also sharing, having someone who's my wife, always there to support those decisions. So having her as a partner, because at the end this is a partnership, it's a society, and we have to make it work for us as a unit, as a family. So having her support has been critical. So I'm very happy to have her. So wealth for me has to do with experiences. For me, a wealthy person is a person that has a lot of experiences, that has lived good things in his life that he's able to remember and to share. Wealth is not about what you have, it's about what you know, what you've been through. There's a big saying in Mexico that when you die and you go to the grave, you basically take dirt with you. You don't have anything, So at the end is that wealth is being able to have people in your life that you can always count on. We've been very lucky because of this life that we've been changing every 2 years from state to state. We have to start over, but starting over also has that benefit, because we know more people, and that those people become our family, and those connections last over the years. So I would say that we're wealthy in the sense that we have a lot of friends all over Mexico, and now here in Jamaica, hopefully more friends to come here in Jamaica. So that for me is wealth.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access. Business Access. Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
Stewart's Automotive Group has become synonymous with the auto industry in Jamaica and is breaking ground for the construction of its new home of the Jaguar Land Rover brand. And Business Access TV is here at South Avenue for the coverage. I'm Jamila Maitland. Stay with us.
Thank you for being here. Good morning and Happy New Year. What an awesome event for us. I cannot believe that we're here today breaking ground, a project that we had hoped to have done in 2008. It's taken us an additional 10 years due to many ups and downs, and we've done it. We could not have done it without all of you here. You have held our hand on this journey, and for that, we love you and we thank you. The Stewart's Automotive Group is proud to be kicking off 2019 in a big way with the official groundbreaking of what will be the new Jaguar Land Rover showroom and service center. This is a historic day for us, and we're very excited about what it means for Jaguar Land Rover customers, the Stewart's Automotive Group, and ultimately Jamaica as a whole. So what does it mean? The new home of Jaguar Land Rover represents investment in the brand, the best to showcase its combination of versatility and luxury, an increased opportunity for employment, and the continued growth of our group and country, beautiful Jamaica. Jaguar Land Rover, the art of performance. I'm delighted to welcome you here this morning, and on behalf of the entire Stewart's Automotive Group, I'd like to thank you for joining us as we put shovel and dirt to mark this special occasion as we go above and beyond. So we're going to have some remarks from my brother Duncan Stewart.
The symbolic groundbreaking for a project that's very important to us. As you can see, we've already started, so this is a symbolic gesture today. Some history. Stewart's Automotive Group celebrates its 81st anniversary this year, and we are proud to continue the legacy that my grandfather, my father, and my mother have continued. This legacy has been built on hard work, determination, and investing when other people wouldn't. It has been built on service. Service to our customers, service to our staff, service to our country. And we are proud that this legacy continues in our young fourth generation who are here today with us. Our family took over Jaguar Land Rover brand 3 years ago, and since then we've operated in a temporary facility at South Camp Road. In that time, we've grown from strength to strength by raising the benchmark for service and quality, whilst introducing fantastic new models that have raised the standards of luxury motoring in Jamaica. We are proud to say that many of you here today have experienced the brand promises of our premium products. Above and beyond for Land Rover, the art of performance for Jaguar, and I thank you for that. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are excited to say that luxury has indeed found a new home right here. Here at Arthur Wint Drive, where both Jaguar and Land Rover will be housed. We are proud to say that we are bullish on Jamaica and bullish on the Jaguar Land Rover brands, putting our money where our mouth is. Our $13 million investment in this project will allow our group to offer our Jaguar Land Rover customers a world-class retail experience. And it will allow us to expand our horizons into real estate development with the additional space that we will have here for rent. The building will have 5 stories, covering approximately 5,000 square meters, 50,000 square feet for the rest of us, with JLR occupying the first 2 floors of the property, and we'll have rental property occupying the upper floors. We are working around the clock to have our showroom open and ready for the end of March. and to finish the project by September. And to give you some food for thought, what you see already built here started in October, so we are accelerating. Our Jaguar Land Rover facility will be very exciting, the first of its kind in the Caribbean, and of that we are proud. Built to Stuart's and Jaguar Land Rover's exacting standards, we've left no stone unturned to deliver on our family's promise of unparalleled service to our customers. With this facility, we will have the space to grow and to service our growing Jaguar Land Rover vehicle population in Jamaica. The layout, combined with investments in tooling and training, will allow us to raise our productivity. And of course, this standalone facility will give our customers exclusivity and dedicated attention that they don't have right now. Of course, any new construction, especially of this magnitude and investment, comes with benefits. For one, direct employment will be created for the persons in and around the community who will be part of the construction team. We will also house a business process outsourcing facility that will create employment opportunities for Jamaicans in this area and beyond. Secondly, our luxury brands Jaguar and Land Rover will now be housed here. The ambience and appeal of this location will no doubt be raised. We will set the standard in this area. Thirdly, we see this project as one that will heighten the sense of pride for persons operating and living in this area. And these are just a few of the many benefits that we will bring. I'm thankful to the government and other relevant stakeholders having played a very supportive role in this project to date. Prime Minister Holness, your presence today is a true demonstration of your support and that of your administration. On behalf of the entire Stuart's Automotive Group family, I want to thank you for taking the time to be here with us. I'd also like this opportunity to thank our staff, our over 500 dedicated professionals whose hard work has made Stuart's Automotive the powerhouse that we are. We couldn't have done this without you. Finally, I would be remiss not to thank all of our valued customers across the entire group for all the brands that we represent. Thank you for continuing to trust us with your driving experience. Thanks to everyone.
I do want to commend the Stuart family for this investment here, and particularly because you're not just moving the showroom for Jaguar and Land Rover, but you're making an investment in space for the BPO industry, a sector that I believe in strongly, one that has demonstrated tremendous growth and one that will continue to grow. And I think the location, it's hard to find a more ideal location than this. You're on pretty much a main thoroughfare, you're close to major centers, and it will be, in my view, quickly snapped up by those investors who are looking for space. But you've made a commitment and you put your money where your mouth is. And this property, I think, is going to continue to change the landscape of this area. There is another building further up, Arthur Wint, which Daryl was at, where we broke ground. Wicon is building the lofts. There are other developments taking place which will transform the area. Persons are being employed on the construction. Persons will be here permanently. And I think it's a real testament to the commitment of the family. I know, going back to your grandfather, the second generation, you are the third, and I know the fourth is here. And I want to commend the family for this commitment, and in particular the matriarch, Diana, who continues to play her role in the family business. The country has seen a lot of growth, and I could probably name in this area alone 5 or 6 major projects taking place. And by major projects, if you're looking for a crane, you look for a crane when you're talking about a major project. And there are a number of them taking place. And that is a positive thing. It genuinely provides employment opportunities, and it's a good thing. So I'm happy as a member of Parliament to be a part of this and to support all the work that you're doing. And I want to commend the family again and pledge my support as you see through the construction.
Violence is bad. Violence against our innocent little children is terrible. Pretending not to notice when we know or suspect that a child is suffering is awful and morally wrong. In the words of the great Nelson Mandela, there can be no keener realization of a nation's soul than the way in which it treats its children. Think about that for a second. I have a voice. It's one of my gifts. I intend to use it on behalf of our children. No more violence against our children. Make your move to stop violence against our children right now. No more. No more. No more.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
I am pleased to be here because it is a sign of the confidence that the private sector is having in the economy. Let me say clearly for everyone that this is not a simple matter for someone or a group of people to take up their savings or other people's savings, to put themselves in debt, to take a risk because there is no certainty or surety or guarantee in business. It is a risk. Obviously, entrepreneurs, enterprising people are not reckless people. They would have sat and they would have calculated the risk. They would have done their assessment. Now, Julian pointed out euphemistically that much progress started under his administration and we are building on it. And that's a good thing. That is not something that should be denied. That indeed is the definition of progress and prosperity. When you build on what was there and do better than what was there. But in this regard, I take note of Jackie's statement that this project was actually conceived in 2008. So you see, it is passing through administration. But in the sense as well, there is a certain sadness because it has taken so long. And that, my friends, is the challenge with doing business in Jamaica. It takes far too long. We have to do things, obviously, to make it easier to do business. And Minister Vaz has charge of that with ensuring that all the various elements that go into the ease of doing business, that those elements are improved. And we are strategically focused on that. But doing business is also a function of the general macroeconomic environment. So the ease of doing business are usually microeconomic considerations. But the macroeconomy is also very important. Things such as interest rates, things such as certainty with taxes. What will the government do with its tax policy? And how will that affect your income streams? when you make the investment. It is quite clear that from the fiscal standpoint, from the macro standpoint, government has acted in such a way as to give greater certainty to the economic environment, to allow businesses to take future decisions, and not just short-term future, but long-term future decisions, and to bring forward or actualize their investment decisions. This would be a perfect example of that. So I believe Jamaicans can feel satisfied in their government that the continued sacrifice for fiscal discipline has resulted in an economic environment in which businesses can take decisions and risks about investments. But we still need to make even greater progress on the micro issues. For example, how long does it take a business to get electricity? How long does it take you to get titling? How long does it take you to get approvals to do all of this? And the mayor of Kingston and St. Andrew, my good friend, is here, and he knows the government's grave concern about how quickly we get the simple things done to make big investments happen. On another note, I observed keenly the last outturn on growth, 1.8%. Like most Jamaicans, I am not impressed. We want more growth, but we look at the glass for where it is. The truth is that we have been growing consistently. Not the level of growth that we want. I certainly don't consider it takeoff growth. When we get over 2%, then we will be in that range to start to take off. But as Julia knows, the investment decisions that you take today as business people do not have an immediate effect on growth. There is a lag. And that lag period in Jamaica, what we call the transmission of the growth, takes some time. Again, because of systemic weaknesses in our system, the lag between making the actual investment and that investment turning out and showing up in the growth figures takes some time. So you will see growth going into the future. But people always say to me, we see all these investments going on, as Julian was saying that the national bird now is going to become the crane. Because we see so many cranes around Jamaica, particularly here in Kingston, new buildings being constructed. So it is a puzzle to many as to why is it that the growth numbers are not larger. There are many explanations, and I seek to prefer one to be considered. For many years, there has been a disinvestment in capital. In other words, capital formation in Jamaica over the past few decades has been negative. So in the national accounting systems, the disinvestment and the negative capital formation would mean that your ability to grow and grow rapidly would be limited. What you're seeing happening now is a return to investment in capital goods. A building, especially a plant, is considered to be a capital investment. And you can measure that in many ways. One, you can see movement in the stock market. You can see movement in the private equity and debt market. Because usually those kinds of movement and liveliness in that market would signal that people are borrowing to make capital investments. And we're seeing that now happening in Jamaica. So the preconditions for significant growth is being set. But you're not going to see it happen just yet right now. Again, the transmission, the lag is there. And I've been to many groundbreakings of similar nature. And immediate effect on the economy is that it creates jobs. And I'm very happy for that. Because it is one thing to have growth. But growth without jobs is immiseration. So we are happy that the growth that we are seeing, even though it is not at the level at which we want it to be, it is creating significant employment. In fact, I'm proud to say there are more Jamaicans employed today than ever in the history of the employment statistics. That is the case. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, that Jamaica can and will achieve full employment. We need to continue this pace of capital formation. We need to continue this pace of investment, and we will achieve full employment, which in itself will create a larger demand, which in itself will drive consumption, which in itself will drive economic growth.
So Jaguar Land Rover has been sharing space with Suzuki down at our South Camp Road office, and frankly there's not enough space for both brands. So we've always been planning to build here, and so it's about saying when are the conditions right for us to make the right investment. And so we see that the track that Jamaica is going on, the track that Jaguar Land Rover as a brand is going on, means that's the right time to invest.
It has been 10 years in the making. What does this mean for the persons living around here and just development overall of this space?
Well, there are not many properties in Kingston this size that can be developed with what we want to do. So we're fortunate. We've owned this property for quite a long time. The construction here is bringing jobs to the neighborhood, so we are employing people here. All of the people who are working in the project are Jamaicans. So we have Jamaican construction, Jamaica architect, Jamaica engineers, and so on. And then, of course, the project, when it comes to fruition, is going to provide jobs because we'll have a BPO here. And, this property is well located centrally. We have a tertiary education institution next door. We have a hospital next door. And we have neighborhoods next door that, can provide workers with jobs in this industry. And, of course, for Jaguar Land Rover, we're getting our business all in one place, exclusive property just for Jaguar Land Rover customers. We're going to have productivity driven through our business because we are designing it from scratch.
You are celebrating your 81st anniversary. How long has this been in the making, and what do we expect from the Stewart's Automotive going forward?
So, we took over the Jaguar Land Rover brand 3 years ago. So it's been in the making for 3 years to put Jaguar Land Rover. Before we were going to put another brand here, but the circumstances of the Lehman crash made the economy and the motor vehicle business very tenuous. Now we have growth again. 2016 was the first year that the car business sold the same number of cars as 2007. So we've had a long time coming back to where we are now, and we see growth on the horizon, and we're very bullish about the future.
What would you say to investors who probably are a little bit skeptic about, putting money where their mouth is, as you said? What kind of advice would you give them?
Well, the real issue is about whether you're confident about Jamaica, about Jamaicans, and about the future. And we are, and we invite other people to take the same view. If you look around, you do see people making investments. So it's not that we are alone, right? The thing is that it's time for Jamaicans to change their own future. We have to build it together, and we have to do it together.
That's it from us here at the groundbreaking ceremony for the showrooms of Jaguar and Land Rover. I'm Jamila Maitland for Business Access TV, serious about business.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show. And Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. Wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV, serious about business.
I wanted to be an educator because I believe that education is the most powerful weapon that can change the world.
My dreams and aspiration is to one day become an entrepreneur where I can employ other persons and help to build the country.
I wanted to go into development. I wanted to help people become better versions of themselves. Growing up, I saw a lot of violence, I saw a lot of crime, I saw a lot of poverty. The challenges are so many. The first one that comes to mind is the level of youth unemployment that's here.
Challenges that exist here in West Prospect Bogwalk are lack of awareness for educational opportunities or job opportunities.
Not many got a chance to do CXC or graduate from the secondary level. So that's a major setback for the people living in the community.
A way to alleviate this issue is training programs.
They need more opportunities, like to go back to school to get themselves a certificate so they can be able to work and create employment for themselves and their family.
Push more entrepreneurship opportunity, encourage these youths to be creative and innovative in what they do. Give them startup capital to start their business. Invest more in the youth skills and talents.
The Poverty Reduction Program is funded by the European Union, and it really is a program that focuses on the most vulnerable type of communities, making communities safer, making citizens more healthy, better access to education.
For European Union, investing in youth is an obvious choice. They are the future of the country. If we prepare them well, they will bring the change that Jamaica needs. That's why we invest in scholarships, internship, training in life skills and mentorship.
I received a tertiary scholarship from the PRP to attend the University of Technology, Jamaica. It meant a lot to me because I realized that somebody else believed in me and somebody saw the potential that I have and somebody believed that I could actually achieve my goal.
I benefited by getting firstly an internship, and also they assisted my bachelor's degree financially. But critically, outside of the finances, the persons that were on the project, you know, the motivation that they provided, etc., it really provided a huge boost.
This is my third year at the MICO. This scholarship, it helped me to be able to focus only on my education here, because tertiary education is not cheap.
I was placed at ODPEM on the one-year internship program. It was really good. It was an opportunity for me to prove myself, to give myself a service, and also to gain experience in the working world, and to also provide for my family.
I plan to be an agent of change in my community by being a mentor, a leader, and a godfather for the youths growing up. Try to help them, teach them a trade.
You don't have to be rich to help. You don't have to achieve greatness to start. I contributed to my basic school by providing them with the necessary resources that they need, that I believe that in the long run, it will have a ripple effect on many, many persons.
Professionally, I manage the whole program, which is aimed at giving young persons the opportunity to, you know, do what I did, basically, to get their foot inside an organization. Additionally, I also have a little small business that I try to employ young persons to learn a skill, etc.
When you're persistent in life, when you're determined, when you're hungry for success, then you'll be able to accomplish and achieve anything that you want.
It has changed hundreds and hundreds of lives. Not just my life, my family lives, my friends' lives, etc. I want to just urge everyone looking on to continue these social programs. These are the solutions to the many ills that we face as a society and as a country and even as a world. So thank you, and I challenge you, continue it. It's needed.
The National Baking Company gave birth to the National Baking Company Foundation, NBCF, which is a brainchild of businessman and philanthropist Gary Butch Hendrickson, signaling a new dawn, a new day. Change has come for our nation's children, our future generation. The foundation was launched in 2015 to further strengthen the company's philanthropic efforts. It supports numerous organizations including Lost Street Trade Training Center, Mustard Seed Communities, Food for the Poor, St. Patrick's Foundation, and the Union Gardens Basic School. Now, the foundation has launched its Little Leaders program in early childhood schools island-wide.
I'm very pleased to join you in launching the Little Leaders program, and I applaud and endorse this initiative. Education has always been, for me, a partnership exercise. No matter how much money we spend from the national budget, we still need to spend more. It is the most valuable and rewarding investment that any country or any company, for that matter, can make.
This is another year of a dream coming true for us. This is part of something that I think we get involved with emotionally in the company. I personally think it's the best thing that I have ever done, having this initiative. I do believe, and I continue to believe, that unless we can educate our children, we're just dooming them to a future of a percentage of what they could become. And that's the basis on which I do this.
Butch has long been a very serious advocate for early childhood education. And it emerged from a Crayons Count initiative that he was involved in for about 4 years. And it morphed into the Future Leaders arrangement. And it's all about early childhood education, supporting the teachers, getting supplies out into every corner of Jamaica, using the national infrastructure, National Bakery, with their vehicles and transport. And it's really all about getting the sort of 3 to 6 minds at that early stage and giving them the teaching and learning aids.
The Little Leaders program will ensure that all institutions registered with the Early Childhood Commission, ECC, will receive learning kits.
It's an early childhood initiative where we have been distributing kits to approximately 2,500 schools across the island, right throughout the island. This is the first year for Little Leaders, but it's the 4th year for National being on board with this kind of initiative. We are packing approximately 3,500 boxes. Some schools will receive A and B boxes depending on their size, and some schools will receive A boxes. The schools will come to various centers in the corporate area and collect their boxes. So our team of volunteers will go out again and ensure that each school receives their kits, they sign for their kits, and then they collect their kits. And basically they're on their way after that. We traverse as far as Portland to Hanover, delivering boxes right through the island. This is one of the biggest initiatives for the foundation. We took it on, well, it was still under the Crayons Count brand. National has taken it on themselves to rebrand it and call it Little Leaders. The Crayons Count brand is going global. They want to go worldwide. National is keeping it local and trying to cover our needs in Jamaica before we try and help otherwise.
This means a lot to the Commission. The Commission is a regulatory body, so we do ensure that the standards, because there are 12 standards, and what's happening today actually impact one of the standards. The tools, the resources that you find at the early childhood institution, This creates equality among all our children. So whether you're in Morant Bay or you're at the Newville Point, as we often speak about, whether middle class, upper class, poor, everyone, it equalizes. Every child has the ability to have a Play-Doh. Every child have the same equipment being in that institution. So whether it's a prep school or it's a public school, you're having the same tool that enhances, and it does a lot for early stimulation. Because our children, kids learn differently. You need standardized toys. This is what National has done. We thank them. We wish they continue. We hope and we encourage more corporates to come on board, because we have to get it right there. Our little ones, we have to stimulate them from early. And once you have a good, very strong foundation, you see the benefits. It translates to primary, then to secondary. And like I said, the best investment is at that age. And if we get it right, we have a better society. So we're very happy for this. We thank them. We actually want more because, again, I like to say, a government will never be able to provide all the resources. So we welcome corporate sponsorship, and that's why we're very happy for what National is doing today. And also to their staff, the involvement of their staff, that is quite commendable. What we're experiencing today, the staff members are out and they are doing the work. It speaks volume. It speaks to their commitment to a better Jamaica. And again, as Chairman of the Early Childhood Commission, we thank everyone, we appreciate, and we always say this, we always want more. We're happy for our children, for a better Jamaica.
As the portfolio minister, let me tell you, this is music to my ears. For you to have a corporate entity giving back so much to Jamaica, this is the foundation of the education system to start our children right. And you know, I say so often that we have so many vulnerable children, so many vulnerable homes, a lot of poor parents who can't afford the necessary educational material to ensure that their children are well stimulated in their education journey correct. This is a fantastic amount of commitment and monetary investment in Jamaica's education system and the future of our children. And we are extremely happy, we are very proud, we are very grateful, and our commitment is to ensure that we work with this company and the other stakeholders, and of course the many ECIs, the over 2,500 ECIs that have been targeted across Jamaica, to make sure that our children benefit from this investment and that Jamaica's education system will be second to none in the world.
Coming up on Caring Hands.
We're just trying to get them off on the right step, while they are the future.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point, dissecting the issues. Offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
These Little Leader learning kits are packed at the National Bakery Warehouse, where volunteers with an aim to serve come together for the mission that will change the lives of our nation's children.
It's volunteer time. We have production workers from bun, biscuit, bread, giving up their time. When they come off the line, they come over and they help pack, or on the day off, they come and they help pack. So we just have a big cooperation from everybody. Everybody's on board. The garage, their team helps us load trucks and offload at the distribution centers. And some of the route salesmen also carry out some boxes in their truck.
The coordination in itself is pretty organized. We pull from the different plants, and every department is basically aware of what we're doing. So when the time approaches for the packing to be carried out. Everybody come together, we arrange a room, all the items have been ordered. We have a target which we have to meet. We have a certain amount of boxes that we have to make, and they're separated into A's and B's. We have team leaders who are aware of what we're going to be doing, and so they align themselves and they carry it out pretty much. Usually the workers are very excited, so it's not an easy to get them to come over. The containers, when they arrive on the premises, when the time approaches for us to start packing, they're offloaded in our packing room. Based on the target that we have a conveyor, we align different stations, and everything is in order. So you just follow the conveyors as the boxes go down. You know what it is that you need in each carton and for each kit. And you just follow the process as it goes along. Everybody pretty much pitches in and get everything done together. It's a learning kit, and there are various different items that are in it. Pretty much it's a well-rounded kit that is targeted to the development of these children, and I'm sure they'll really appreciate it. Different schools get different amount of boxes, whether A or B boxes, and the learning tools that are in the kits, they stimulate their development.
Packing the Little Leaders project, what we do on an annually, yearly basis now for the kids, early learners kids, a lot of crayons, Play-Doh, paint, ball, glue sticks, you name it, it's here. We're just trying to get them off on the right step, but they are the future kids coming up. It's just a pleasure for me being here to help out. Once it's for the kids, it's always a pleasure for me. You know, it's coming from our boss. You know, he's inspired and he's doing this for the kids, and it's coming from him. We just all have to chip in. And so it's been a pleasure.
Today I'm here as a volunteer in packaging items to send out into the school as a part of our Little Leader program that we have going on. This is my first time as a volunteer. I've always known about this project that the company has always been doing, and I'm very proud to be a part of it. I've always been a person who purchases the national products, and I've always seen the branding on the products that they sell. For example, the bread, they always have a sticker across it. So I've always been interested and wanted to know what it was about, and then I read up about it. So to be here working and being a part of this, I'm very proud. I think it's a great thing that a company is doing for our community and the schools in our country. A lot of children have the potential, but they don't have the backing behind us. So for a company to be offering something like this, I think it's a great initiative on behalf of the less fortunate.
I'm here since Grand Count, and now it's Little Leaders. It's fun being here, packing the box and all of that. Trust me, the box alone, from them seat, the fun is there. Not to mention when them open the box, because there's a lot of stuff, as you can see on the table.
After the packaging is done, they are loaded onto the trucks. The trucks are then fueled with enough diesel for the long journey to distribute the Little Learners learning kits to over 2,500 institutions that are registered with the Early Childhood Commission, ECC. Upon arrival at their destination, the Little Leaders team prepared themselves for the day's events. A queue is then formed where persons verify the name of their institution, after which they are given a card that is indicative of how many packages they will receive.
I really appreciate what National has done, 101% and more, because of the creativity of the toys, the puppetry, the curriculum guide. It works with the material they have given us, and it really enhances the children's learning. because some of the things that we never thought of, it was given to us so easy that we could use the material to prepare our lesson for the day. So I just want to say, big up to National. Thank you very, very much, National. We really appreciate everything that you have done, and continue to go out and give back to the school, and one love, and God bless all the National family.
They're very effective because they help to enhance the children's learning, and I like the quality of the products because they are very children friendly and the children work well with them. I just want to say a big thanks to National for considering the early childhood education. I just want to say to them, continue to keep up the good work because they are doing great to the children of our society. May God continue to bless them.
My school is Marley-Mount Primary and Infant School. I'm here this morning picking up the boxes from the National. I have 6 boxes here. The reason is because we have over 285 students at school, and so we have enough resources for them, to use. And yearly we come and we collect these boxes. The students use them immensely. They enjoy them, especially the Play-Doh, the crayons. They make stuff. We use puppets to teach our lessons in whatever. Especially we have puppets like the doctor, the nurse, the firefighter, and so on. And the teachers use those puppets to help to enhance their lessons and so on. Thank you, National Company, for what you're doing, and we hope that you continue to do this venture. It is really helping us out because when teachers have to find these things out of their pockets, to help out with their classroom, and to see that what they are doing for us, free of cost, we're entirely grateful for the help that we're getting. And I'm going to encourage the parents out there and the wider Jamaica to continue to support National Company in buying their products so that they can continue to support our schools.
I'm from the Blue Old Basic School in St. Catherine, up in the hills, cool hills of St. Catherine. And I'm here to collect my box from National. And I want to say thanks to them. The children are very excited about the playthings in the box. And this time, I believe they will be more excited for what they are getting.
I'm from Police Spring Basic School, which is situated at 44 Marley Gardens. And I'm thankful to National for giving us this wonderful gift to these children. They are so excited about these gifts. This is my second time collecting from National, and I do thank you.
Coming up on Caring Hands.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
The parish of Clarendon was another of several delivery stops for the Little Leaders. Welcome to Kellits.
we have been getting stuff from Crayons Count, and now it's Little Leaders that we are getting from. And we appreciate this stuff very much because it helps the children at the school, you know, to develop their finer muscles and all that. And we are very grateful, you know, because it helps and cut back on parents have to provide some of these things. We're used to national because we buy national products, you know, and the trucks are in our area every day, you know, we support them. And we're grateful to National being a part of this program.
We appreciate everything that you do through the years for the children them, because we can't afford it and they make use of it. Your learning centers them and so forth. So each year they are looking forward towards it with the puppets and the blocks and everything play do and everything. Thanks to National for what they are doing and continue to do the work through the years to come.
Next up was Chapeltown, a market town in the parish. Representatives of various early childhood institutions in Kelletts anxiously awaited the arrival of the Little Leaders truck and were grateful for the initiative.
And we appreciate you very much and for the work that you are doing all across the island for our basic schools. And each year you come, you give us more and more, and we appreciate it, because if it was left to us, we could not buy them to cater for the children. So we appreciate it a whole lot, and continue with your work. May God bless you richly.
And the children like it too. They all they are in them. You have to, you know, shift them around, and you know, them enjoy them. You're very grateful for them as well, parents as well. So I want to say thank you again over the years for what you're all doing for the early childhood.
The National Company and the Little Leaders Group, I just want to say thank you and continue to do the work that you are doing, because you're not only helping the children now, but in future they'll be better citizens. And I thank you.
The Augusttown SDA Basic School is one out of the 2,500 schools that have benefited from the Little Leaders initiative.
Augusttown has collected from Crayon Count, now Little Leaders. I'm expecting my teachers and students to be excited. I mean, students are excited about anything with colors. They're not going to be seeing it today. Teachers are going to, you know, go into the box first, and we decide the age group for each thing, and then we put them on the different learning centers. I'd like to say to National and to Little Leaders, thank you so much. It will go a far way. Our students will appreciate it, teachers will appreciate it. Continue doing the good work.
I think Little Leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
The National Baking Company Foundation has touched the hearts of many, making the impossible possible, and in the words of the National Baking Company Foundation CEO, Gary Butch Hendrickson, who made all this possible along with his hardworking staff,
I wanted to be an educator because I believe that education is the most powerful weapon that can change the world.
My dreams and aspiration is to one day become an entrepreneur where I can employ other persons and
help to build the country.
I wanted to go into development. I wanted to help people become better versions of themselves. Growing up, I saw a lot of violence, I saw a lot of crime, I saw a lot of poverty. The challenges are so many. The first one that comes to mind is the level of youth unemployment that's here.
Challenges that exist here in West Prospect Bogwalk are lack of awareness for educational opportunities or job opportunities.
Not many got a chance to do CXC or graduate from the secondary level. So that's a major setback for the people living in the community.
A way to alleviate this issue is training programs.
They need more opportunities, like to go back to school to get themselves a certificate so they can be able to work and create employment for themselves and their family.
Push more entrepreneurship opportunity, encourage these youths to be creative and innovative in what they do. Give them startup capital to start their business. Invest more in the youth skills and talents.
The Poverty Reduction Program is funded by the European Union, and it really is a program that focuses on the most vulnerable type of communities, making communities safer, making citizens more healthy, better access to education.
For European Union, investing in youth is an obvious choice. They are the future of the country. If we prepare them well, they will bring the change that Jamaica needs. That's why we invest in scholarships, internship, training in life skills and mentorship.
I received a tertiary scholarship from PRP to attend the University of Technology, Jamaica. It meant a lot to me because I realized that somebody else believed in me and somebody saw the potential that I have and somebody believed that I could actually achieve my goal.
I benefited by getting firstly an internship, and also they assisted my bachelor's degree financially. But critically, outside of the finances, the persons that were on the project, you know, the motivation that they provided, etc., it really provided a huge boost.
This is my third year at the MICO. This scholarship, it helped me to be able to focus only on my education here, because tertiary education is not cheap.
I was placed at ODPEM on the one-year internship program. It was really good. It was an opportunity for me to prove myself, to give myself a service, and also to gain experience in the working world, and to also provide for my family.
I plan to be an agent of change in my community by being a mentor, a leader, and a godfather for the youths growing up. Try to help them teach them a trade.
You don't have to be rich to help. You don't have to achieve greatness to start. I contributed to my basic school by providing them with the necessary resources that they need, that I believe that in the long run it will have a ripple effect on many, many persons.
Professionally, I manage the Hope program, which is aimed at giving young persons the opportunity to, you know, do what I did, basically, to get their foot inside an organization. Additionally, I also have a little small business that I try to employ young persons to learn a skill, etc.
When you're persistent in life, when you're determined, when you're hungry for success, then you'll be able to accomplish and achieve anything that you want.
It has changed hundreds and hundreds of lives. Not just my life, my family lives, my friends' lives, etc. I want to just urge everyone looking on to continue these social programs. These are the solutions to the many ills that we face as a society and as a country and even as a world. So thank you, and I challenge you, continue it. It's needed.
Our women are the backbone of our society. They deserve to be protected and respected. Domestic violence is not okay. Speak up and speak out. No more violence against women.
Hi, I'm Roderick Francis, CEO of B&D Trawling Limited. The business was actually started by my father about 35 years ago. And, when he died in 2011, I officially took over the spot as head of the business, but I've been working with him in the business for over 10 years prior to his death. We have been established from 1980, and my father has always been involved in boating and boats, and his father was a marine pilot, so he's been around boats all his life and fishing all his life. So at that point in time, I guess he wanted to make a commercial activity out of it, and people love seafood, so I guess it was a natural transition for him. My dad funded it out of pocket. He already had some boats, so started with his boats that he had, and then when he was able, he purchased, really specific kind of commercial fishing boats, and then took it from there. B&D Trawling's mandate is to provide the highest quality seafood to the global marketplace. So the two main items that we export all over the world are conch and lobsters. They're all fished in the Jamaican waters, and we're also recently fishing deep water snappers as well. We cater to the seafood lovers and people who love quality seafood. There's a trend around the world for healthy food now, and the thing is that Jamaicans don't understand what they really have. So what we have is pristine, untouched waters. So there are people all over the world that come and are looking for fish and seafood that are grown naturally in a healthy environment. So we produce the quality Jamaican products and export it all over the world. So we export to China, we export to USA, Canada, Singapore, Thailand, all over. We've recently started the importation of some products that are not available locally here. So we have partnered with a major seafood distributor in the US, which we have been exporting to for over 30 years by the name of Beaver Street. Their brand is Seabest, and we have been packaging products under their brand for over 30 years. And it was just a natural progression for us to start distributing the brand here in Jamaica, including the Jamaican line of products as well as other products that are not locally available here, such as salmon and shrimp and scallops. What makes us unique is that, we sell our product to the first world. So Jamaicans on a whole love quality seafood. That's why they go to the beach and stand up and wait for the fisherman to come with his boat and come up, and they get it fresh there. So what we are doing and what makes us different is we really try to bring that to the customer without the hassle. So, you don't have to go down to the beach to fight for your fish. You can come to our outlet, you can come and you can get the same quality that you get there, or even better, at an affordable price and in a great environment. So what makes us different, what makes us competitive? Mainly, again, the quality of our produce. So initially, the funding was put up by my father, but one of the great growers or facilitators of our business has been our partner, Exim Bank, and really they have helped us to really grow the company rapidly in the direction that we have wanted, with low cost financing, US dollar loans and things like that. We are a profitable company, and we continue to grow our product range and product line, so we're on a very good profitable path. Where our business is located is very strategic. We're located on the port of Kingston, which is strategic not only for our vessels to dock here, but also in close proximity to the airport, as well as to the Kingston Wharves and Kingston Container Terminal, which most of our goods go out on. So it's very strategic. It also helps us to increase the quality of our product, because usually there may be one other plant in Jamaica that is located on the waterfront. So what this does for us is increase the quality that we're able to produce. So it comes directly from the boat into the plant, instead of coming by boat, then travel by land and going everywhere. So that's how we keep our quality increased as well. We employ over 200 persons here, and there are mostly women from the inner city communities or surrounding communities. And we very much believe in community development and supporting our surrounding communities. So the first place we look is right in our neighboring communities, where, jobs are hard to find. And we look there, and we have been very happy with the quality of workmanship which we have got so far. In the management level now, we look for the best people, because I believe, for me, no matter what it costs, to have the best people. And it goes all around. I'm not saying that the lower level people are not the best. Yes, we do have some of the best people in the fishing industry here that come from the inner city communities, yes, as well. But we look for, on the higher level, we look for education is very, very important. Experience is very, very important on the higher level. The majority of the workers are based in our processing plant. So they would have several divisions of the processing plant. So all throughout the process, so they would come in, you would have ladies filleting or cutting the product. Then you would have people washing the product. Then you would have people weighing the product. Then you would have people bagging the product all the way through to the end process, and until it's loaded into a container and shipped. Our culture is definitely family-oriented. When my dad started this business and he was here, he was very much a family man, and everybody, every employee that has been here, some of them from the beginning, we still have employees that have been here for 35 years with us. And it's just a family environment. We can have an open door policy. Anybody can come and talk, and any issue, it can be outside of business, anything. And we all come together and help each other when we need it. Typically, I work about 12 hours per day. So about 9 to 9 in office. And then, plant workers work on a shift basis as well. So some persons may come in at 6 o'clock and leave earlier. Some may come in at 10 and leave later. So it's flexi hours, and sometimes during the lobster season, or most times, we have a night shift as well. Being an entrepreneur is very tough, especially a business owner, and time management is a very, very tough task. So the major challenge will be to balance, work and life, and home life, and being a young family member, or I would say having a young family, it's very, very tough, and you have to kind of carve out time for your family and make sure that you make that time, because basically it's your business, you're so enthusiastic about it, you want it to succeed, and then so you put all your time and your effort and everything into it, and really try to keep it as vibrant as possible. And a lot of the times when you do that, you know, your personal life suffers. So the challenge now is being able to really create that balance.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point, dissecting the issues. Offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
As CEO, you know, you always really want to think about the big ideas. Where do you want to take the company? What is your vision? And what are your goals? So, you know, I spend a lot of time sitting down and thinking about where we want to go and what we want to do. And out of that, then the ideas come. So you kind of focus on the consumer, focus on the market and see where it's shifting, see where it's going to be tomorrow, and kind of innovate before, so that when the market shifts, you'll be in that position to really take advantage of the market. The most important thing for us here, you know, we're competing on a global market. You know, we're competing in first world companies. We mainly ship to Europe, so you know, these people know seafood, they know quality products, and you know, you really have to have a quality product. That's number one. Number two, if you're talking about retail or service, the customer experience has to be good. So one of the things we focus on really in our pop-up kitchen that we do once a month is really focusing on an authentic experience. You know, so when you come down, you can really feel a natural Jamaican environment and all local produce, and really get that natural feel that the customer will feel at home and want to come back. Being an entrepreneur and running your own business, you know, there are going to be challenges every day. If you don't have challenges every day, then there's a problem. But it's just how you deal with those challenges. Being a primarily export company, our main challenges are red tape issues, or having, you know, a competitive environment here. So when I speak about competitive environment, again, we're competing on a global marketplace. So our competitors have access to cheap fuel, cheap electricity, cheap labor, all of those things. You know, that's what we're competing against. And Jamaica doesn't necessarily have some of those items. So you really have to kind of be innovative and creative and try to, you know, get in a niche where you can create that efficiency to be able to compete globally. My failures have been too many to mention, so I'm not going to really single out any failure, but I can say, you know, I fail all the time, and anybody who doesn't fail or hasn't failed has never been or never will be successful. So failure is not the problem, is how you recover from failure. And that's one of the main success factors of an entrepreneur. So the successful people, they will learn from their failures, and what John C. Maxwell would say is fail forward. So you would fail and build up from it. Now, if you fail and you keep making the same mistakes over and over, then you're going to be in a problem. So it's just how you react to the failures and how you overcome them and keep going. You try to prevent as many mistakes as possible, but it's part of the failure. You know, you can't prevent mistakes. Mistakes will happen, things will happen, markets will change, everything will change, and you just have to react, and you have to react quickly and in a positive way. So you can't really say that you're going to stop mistakes. Again, you don't want to repeat the mistakes. You make it one time and you put measures in place not to make those mistakes. But it's just a simple, continuous improvement process that you keep going on, and little by little you improve, and minimize the mistakes. Well, definitely growth strategies. We're looking at now diversifying our product range. So a big part of what we do is export, but we have never primarily been in the local market or distributed in the local market. So we have just started that now to actually distribute in the local market, and the actual response has been overwhelming. So, you know, what we do is basically to grow, we now expand into different areas and looking now at acquisitions and things like that to grow the company. Our most successful form of marketing thus far has been social media. It's really on the cutting edge right now. Jamaica, being lovers of phones, lovers of TV and computers and that kind of stuff, you know, social media is really taking it to the next level now. And really, if you want to stay on top of your game and grow your business here and overseas, the best tool right now, most effective tool is social media. Right now, for social media, one of the biggest tools that we use are video and actually, you know, cooking tutorials, things like that, you know, which get people engaged and get them trying your product and testing it and reviewing it and that kind of stuff. So definitely moving more towards video. For me, I'm willing to go to the ends of the earth to succeed, because for me, failure is not an option. I must succeed, I will succeed, and for me, as long as I keep that attitude, I will succeed. One of the best things you can do, or one of the main laws for success, is having a positive attitude. I really can't stress it enough. But there's a book, one of my favorite books, called The Law of Success, written by Napoleon Hill. And anybody who is really interested in being successful, they really need to read that book. And it lays out really all the different points of what becoming successful entails and how you get there. But one of the main things, of course, is knowing where you want to go, knowing what you want to do, and keeping it on the forefront of your mind, and just pushing every day to achieve that goal. I define success as, you know, balance. And, you know, when I mean balance, sometimes people value success as having money or having, you know, material things. I don't really view that as success. For me, success, I view it as being to help people. So I have a business so that people can be employed and generate, you know, income, that kind of stuff, and have a healthy lifestyle. So when I talk about successful, I talk about having good relationships with your family, having a balanced lifestyle, healthy lifestyle in terms of, you know, just the food you eat, everything, you know. So success for me is a balance of work, personal life, and charitable things. Of course, I have fears, you know. My greatest fear, I would say, you know, there's always the fear of going out of business or you know, that kind of fear. But, you know, I don't really fear it. The fear is always in the back of your mind, and that's why you always have to, you know, be on top of your game, really push hard to be, successful in business and really stay on top of the things that make your business successful. So it's there in the back of my mind, pushing me like with a stick there to keep doing my best, keep going the extra mile. But failure or it fuels me.
The business community has suffered tremendously due to extortion. Some have not just lost their businesses, their jobs, but lost their lives. This is extremely impactful to the growth of our country and to the progress of our people. We are our brother's keeper. Let's put a stop to this. No more use of force. No more use of fear. No more extortion. No more.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
If you want to be successful, you really have to have what Mr. Hill would call a definite purpose. So what it really is where you want to go, what you want to do, where you want to be. And that's what fuels me. I have a goal. As CEO, you set the large targets. And, once you set that large targets, then you're going to have to set some smaller targets along the way. So what fuels me is really achieving those goals. So you set those goals and you achieve them. Basically, it really fuels you. So it gives you a boost when you achieve a goal and you know that you're on the right path and you know that you're getting somewhere. So that's what really fuels me. I have many inspirers, but first and foremost, I look to my dad and his legacy and really upholding his legacy and really what he brought to the table. So, he inspires me and had always inspired me to do better than he did and carry it to the next level. And, we've been trying and been really doing well at that. So, inspire, yes, start with my father. And then, there are many persons. You have Martin Luther King, you have Barack Obama, you have all these really positive people that, you gain inspiration over time with, and you're trying to align yourself with their ideals and just push forward. Favorite aspect of being an entrepreneur is the kind of shifting landscape and the thrill of actually owning your own business and knowing that what you put in is directly related what you're going to get out of it. So you really spend a lot of time, putting in a lot of energy, knowing that you're going to get the results. I attribute my success mainly to my team. Number one, you have to have a solid team. So you really have to have the best people on board and you really have to be aligned and work well and mesh well together on a common goal and really move forward together. I don't have one event that I can single out to say that has been my most satisfying moment. You go back and you look at it and you set your overall large goal, and in between you have your small goals. And the most satisfying moments are when you achieve your milestones or your small goals along the way, and it really gratifies you. I mean, any entrepreneur, any business owner is going to have to make many sacrifices. You make sacrifices in time, you make sacrifices in money, you make all sorts of sacrifices. And believe me, I don't think there's a time when you stop sacrificing. But the challenge is really to create a balance. So, now, you really invest a lot of your time into your business, and you really have to try and spend some time with the family as well, and really know that business is not everything in life, even though, you really want to push and remain successful. Non-work time, I'm a seaman, so love to go out on the boats or go out on the water, that kind of stuff. I really enjoy doing that. What makes me happy? Being healthy, having a great family, that really makes me happy. And achieving my goals. Well, future plans, definitely we want to, on a smaller scale, open up a 5-star seafood restaurant down here on the downtown Kingston waterfront. We're looking at building a new plant, which will cost us about $20 million US, state-of-the-art plant. So we're looking to expand, we're looking to do new things, but remain focused on export so we can really bring in that foreign exchange and stop the sliding dollar. So if you want to start your own business, my first piece of advice would be to get your education. Education is extremely important in an extremely competitive business environment. So number one, get a college education. Number two, you need to always go the extra mile. So if you want to start your business, you really have to go over and above and go the extra mile in doing your business. Third, don't be afraid to fail. You're going to fail, and it's just how you react to those failures which will make the difference between your success and the other person. So you really need to push forward and just don't give up. Number one, just don't give up. Keep pushing.
Brings the creative industries to life. Highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo. Only on Business Access TV.
It's the only show that traces the steps of professionals.
From first and second form, I was involved in some club, some activity.
Then gives information on exactly how to get into that same career.
You do need a good grasp of English.
And know you can branch out into whatever area you want to.
Tune in every Tuesday at 8 p.m. for Career Moves.